The dog is about twice the size of a macaque, but trying to take food away from it was a big mistake. The dog's fangs and growls did not make any impression on the primate. He rushed into battle, and with him, his relatives. The dog had to run with his tail between his legs. The python attacked a group of macaques. The snake counted on the fact that when it was attacking a large crowd of victims, at least one would be able to capture it. The reptile turned out to be right. It is already squeezing the poor animal with its rings, and the python is incredibly strong. To strangle the victim, he does not need to look for the neck. It compresses the entire body of the monkey, gradually literally squeezing the air out of its lungs. In addition, the reptile crushes bones and causes damage to the internal organs of its prey. That's just one thing that didn't go according to plan. A pack of monkeys, instead of running away in panic in different directions, began to surround the enemy. They want to recapture their kinsman and save him. Unexpected devotion to one's own kind, especially when you consider that not the kindest morals reign inside the pack. Fights and food sharing often occur. But an external common enemy is a good reason to unite. The snake did not expect this. She seems discouraged. Macaques from all sides. They are all careful and in no hurry to approach, but the reptile does not try to attack another primate, because it is not sure that it has finished off the first victim. But the encirclement is shrinking, and the bravest monkeys are trying to get their kinsmen out of the python's rings. The snake has to repel the attack and rush at unexpectedly brave primates. However, the reptile couldn't get anyone else. And although she overpowered the victim and was able to swallow it, the primates gathered around the reptile. It seems that they are grieving for their loss. If you think this is a unique case, then you're wrong. Even if a python is 5 to 7 times longer than a macaque, it still does not give an unambiguous advantage over such a victim. The monkey will defend itself fiercely, even if the battle takes place on unfavorable terms for it. For example, a case came into the Camberlands when a python was trying to catch a macaque in the water. There, the snake has an advantage. The water supports the large weight of the legless animal and significantly increases its maneuverability. But the primate's paws, on the contrary, become constrained due to the density of the water. But the monkey desperately fights back and not only does not allow the snake's jaw to close on its body, but also successfully counterattacks. Without powerful claws and fangs, the macaque will not be able to inflict fatal damage to such a serious enemy, but it will be able to pet without problems. The snake did not expect such a rebuff. The monkey is incredibly agile. The reptile can rush and bite, but its main weapon is the claws, which it uses to protect and hold its prey while the rest of its body throws its rings. If the primate has moved far enough away from the head and is constantly maneuvering, it has a chance to avoid the throw while continuing to strike and bite the opponent's body. Even if the python manages to defeat one monkey, its relatives in the pack will not allow it to calmly begin to absorb its food. A python can swallow its prey whole, even if it appears to be much larger than its head and neck. Thanks to its movable throat, the snake is able not only to swallow a macaque, but also a small deer. But it takes effort. At the time of feeding, the snake is vulnerable because it will not be able to attack an impudent person who will interfere with it in the process. And the python knows this, and the monkeys know that. As a result, the reptile simply cannot start eating, as enemies will immediately pounce on it, wishing, if not to take revenge, then at least to drive away and take out their aggression on the enemy. Yes, the snake coped with the victim, but what good is that? It is unlikely that primates will really chase a python for a long time or guard it, not allowing it to have lunch. But primates will do everything to show that hunting them requires much more strength than a predator will get from such a meal. The monkey was having lunch on the shore, and a piece of food fell into the water. The fish noticed this and decided to pick up the food, but it was a mistake. The primate reacted unexpectedly aggressively to this. It would seem that the food had fallen and the animal did not want to pick it up. That's just how the monkey refused to share with the fish in the most aggressive form. It's hard to say exactly what's going on here. Only one version comes to mind. The monkey is just teasing a whole group of tigers. Big cats are in the water, which makes it difficult for them to move, but they still manage to jump to a great height. However, this does not help. They don't know who they're messing with. This primate can get mad. The monkey seems to be pretending that just a little more and it will fall down, right into the claws of the enemies. Tigers are just waiting for this, but they will not wait since every movement of the primate is calculated. Two primates decided to have another monkey as a pet. At least that's the impression you get when you see this scene that you're watching now. Two huge gorillas cannot divide a tailed monkey and literally drag it over. The little primate is in shock. He did not think that he would be divided this way. Moreover, gorillas are quite careful. It doesn't seem to hurt the baby, but it still looks pretty scary, doesn't it? When makakes gather in huge flocks, it gets a little bit uncomfortable, doesn't it? But they are from the most dangerous and powerful monkeys in the world. This python has made the biggest mistake of his life. He attacked the baboons. These primates gather in packs, and although each baboon is much inferior to a chimpanzee or gorilla, even one primate of this species is a terrible threat. And by working together, they are able to give battle even to a huge snake the length of a car. This python didn't know who it was messing with. When the baboons recovered from the initial shock, they attacked the snake with incredible fury. Just look how they effortlessly started dragging her along the ground with their prey. The blows of a baboon can easily pierce the scales of a large snake, and fangs are a weapon, the very sight of which will make even a mother lioness uncomfortable. It's even strange how such long teeth fit into the mouth of a primate, and she's not afraid to use them. Being able to open its mouth unexpectedly wide, the baboon will bite again and again, sinking its teeth deep into the target's flesh. There are no smilodons in the modern world, but we have a saber-toothed baboon monkey. But the main thing is her speed and indomitability. The monkey fights with subtly fast movements, grapples, punches, and bites, which it inflicts from different sides. A whole flock of fearless rabid primates unleashed a real hail of blows on the python. The snake won't get out of this mess. Even if she survives and can crawl away, the damage she receives will not allow her to hunt effectively. But most likely, the baboons will not let the reptile go alive. For a long time, makakes in Thailand lived really well. The locals did not drive them away even from the territory of a densely populated city. Large predators did not attack them there, but there was plenty of food. For tourists from Europe or America, a small primate that is not afraid of humans and boldly comes up for a treat is a real curiosity and a pleasant memory. As a result, makakes are used to the fact that a person always has food, which does not require ready food to extract. There are also trash cans and open fruit trays. As a result, the macaque population has grown to an incredible size. But when, due to the collapse of tourism, there were much fewer travelers, primates in Thailand began not just begging, but stealing food. But if you think this is the end, then you're wrong. The local authorities underestimated the problem. It seems that people simply did not know who they were contacting when they allowed wild animals to settle into the cities next to them. Makakes began to unite into real clans and armies of several hundred individuals each. They divided the areas of the cities they inhabited and staged not only raids on garbage cans, but also real battles among themselves. Interestingly enough, even a huge flock of monkeys usually avoids humans. Although we would advise you to behave carefully in such places. But still, the clash of two armies of primates for the sake of one rotten banana looks scary and cool at the same time. Of course, these primates don't care about traffic, and they can arrange a massively battle right in the middle of the day at a busy intersection. The cars are stopping. Drivers will definitely not have time to go anywhere now. Well, they can watch a free action movie. The main thing is not to try to interfere and separate both sides. It is unlikely that there is anything left of the food for them in which such fights are arranged. Monkeys swoop into each other and form something like a huge tangle of dozens of constantly fighting primates. Hundreds of paws, fangs, furious eyes, and a scream that makes wild animals in the jungle even more afraid of cities. It even looks a little fantastic, doesn't it? Usually primates do not injure each other too seriously, even as a result of the fiercest battles. But that doesn't mean he's not trying. They just switch from one goal to another too quickly. The monkeys manage to fight each other with a dozen opponents in one fight. At the same time, it seems that they have something like tactics. They attack each other more or less harmoniously, hold the front line, push the weaker group away from advantageous places. But the retreating ones do not just run away in panic, but gradually withdraw and cover each other. As soon as at least one pair of monkeys grapples in a fight, a dozen more from each side will immediately join them. These monkeys are surprisingly loyal to the members of their groups, so support them in battle and immediately respond to any provocation at all. Interestingly enough, the monkeys have learned to hold fortified or high positions well. While one group is holding back the siege, their enemies are attacking. It seems to look quite funny, considering that the height of the fortress wall does not reach the height of your knee. But when there are several dozen primates and the battle lasts for half an hour or even longer, people do not feel like laughing. The primates who have occupied the height throw the rivals down, give them a stern rebuff, but the advancing army continues its stubborn attack. Meanwhile, the movement around is paralyzed. One can only be glad that this war of street monkeys has affected those primate species that do not know how to use sticks and stones as weapons. But even this melee looks pretty brutal, considering that the size of each macaque is less than the length of an adult's arm. But even passing by these angry animals becomes scary, although they usually only collect tribute from people in the form of food and perhaps something shiny. These nimble macaques are pickpocketers. However, who would want to give a macaque their new phone? At the same time, several generations of macaques have already grown up, who live in cities in this way. They fiercely defend their lands from wild forest relatives, as if the cities belong to monkeys. Maybe this protects cities from an even greater influx of primates, but the problem is that macaques accustomed to the city do not know how to survive in the forest. Even though they are hardened in battles with each other, they do not know how to get food on their own. In addition, predators pose a greater threat to them than to wild relatives. It remains to be hoped that animal rights activists, together with the authorities, will figure out how to solve this problem. It was most acute in 2019 at the peak of the tourism crisis. But even now, do not underestimate the street gangs of Thai macaques.
A desolate corner of the scorched earth. Here the sun cruelly rules and burns all living things. There is no water, no shade. Only the sweltering heat during the day and the searing cold at night. All this makes these places the most violent on earth. Few people will be able to survive here. This is a land where existence is a constant struggle. A land where anyone can die instantly. On this desolate battlefield, life for one means the end of everything for the other. In the edge of the sands, where life is constantly at the limit, there lives an animal that has perfectly adapted to the desert hardships. This desert dweller is a kid you may never have heard of. A dune cat, a true master of survival in the hot, dead sands. The dune cat got its name thanks to the endless dunes of the Sahara Desert. where in the middle of the 19th century, these small wild cats first caught the eye of Frenchman Jean Marguerite, who carried out an expedition to these hot regions. Dune, sand, or desert cat, these are the names this animal has received, and it lives in the deserts of North Africa, the Arabian Peninsula, and Central Asia. The dune cat remains a mystery to modern man, despite the fact that this species was discovered more than 100 years ago. Many do not even know about the existence of this wild cat, the size of a domestic one. This animal is quite secretive, preferring a nocturnal lifestyle. But with the development of GPS trackers and a satellite surveillance system, scientists can study dune cats without catching them and without disturbing them to live peacefully away from people. Each animal has its own place in the ecosystem. Nature has endowed the dune cat with everything for a comfortable life in a hellish climate. These beige beauties are the only cats that live mainly in deserts and are simply created to survive into the hardest of environments. Their disposition is peaceful compared to other wild cats, which are quite ferocious. A cute muzzle with splayed ears, fluffy sideburns on the head, a thick sandy-colored fur coat, outwardly they look like cute domestic cats. However, these cats are real ruthless predators, unusual inhabitants of hot and arid territories. They are not inferior to anyone they can handle. First of all, the tiny size of the predator attracts attention. By its size, the dune cat is one of the smallest in the entire feline family, and in size it is much inferior to other close species, including the domestic cat. Its height at the withers is only 25 to 30 centimeters, and the length of the body together with the tail does not exceed 90 centimeters. The largest male dune cat weighs up to 3.5 kilograms, and females are much lighter. The predator's head is large and wide. It seems even wider because of the thick sideburns, which smoothly turn into big, fluffy ears. The peculiarity of the shape of the head is a certain flatness. The ears of the sand cat are large, widely spaced, and pubescent inside with thick white fur which protects them from wind-blown sand. It may seem that the animal's ears are larger than its head, and the head itself is a little disproportionate for such a small, elegant body. Thanks to the unusual structure of the muzzle, such cats look cute and somewhat funny. The paws of the dune cat are short but powerful. A predator can stun its prey with one blow of its paw. Large and strong claws allow it to quickly dig out a burrow or small rodents living in burrows. The soles of the paws of dune cats are protected by a thick layer of thick and tough fur layer. These mittens protect the delicate pads of the paws from the hot sand, allow the cat not to leave traces behind, and also create a support so that the cat does not get bogged down amongst the quicksand. Dune cats meow, growl, hiss, scream, purr, and reproduce a number of other sounds, in many ways similar to the sound of a domestic cat. The sharp hearing of dune cats helps them to detect prey that hides even underground. Very modest sizes allow cats to fit in small burrows, which the cat easily pulls out with its strong paws. The desert is not only the merciless sun during the day, but also extremely low temperatures at night. Therefore, the desert cat has thick and soft fur, which retains body heat on cold nights and does not allow the animal to freeze, and also does not let heat through during the day so that the animal is not very hot. The color is most often light sandy in color with red shades and barely noticeable small stripes or spots. This appearance is due, of course, to the sandy habitat, making individuals of this breed almost invisible among sandy deserts and rocky valleys. This kitty cat leads a secretive, solitary, and nocturnal lifestyle. That's why naturalist photographers look out for animals at night. During the day, cats usually sit in burrows or caves, and become active closer to night. A dune cat living in the heart of an arid desert goes hunting under the cover of night. Before leaving its lair, the sand cat takes a peculiar pose in its shelter, waiting for 15 minutes and carefully examining the surrounding environment. It looks around carefully and listens. Then, crouching to the ground and moving along the sand almost crawling, silently bypasses his possessions in search of prey. Short distances, despite the slightly strange way of movement, the dune animal overcomes at a speed of 40 kilometers per hour. However, the sneaky manner of movement does not prevent the cat from traveling huge distances in search of prey, up to 10 kilometers, examining an area of up to 8 square kilometers per night just in one go. This animal wanders quietly and cautiously, its gait is soft, and its steps are almost soundless. This desert cat is cautious. If you approach it, it freezes and closes its eyes so that the glare from its eyes does not give it away. Another unusual feature of sand cats is the ability to freeze, and so skillfully that they can be touched, moved, and they won't even move. It is quite difficult to find food in the desert, and therefore these cats are not picky in their food and eat everything they can find and master. The basis of the diet is small jerboa, but a significant part of their diet consists of gerbil mice, lizards, small hares, insects, small birds, their chicks, and their eggs. The prey is extracted with great difficulty, so the cat, in case of successful hunting, tries to eat for the future. She can eat up to 10% of her body weight at one time. The basic hunting techniques for the sand cat are based on hunting from hiding. The sharp hearing of dune cats helps them to detect prey that hides even underground. Most often, jumping out in an ambush, the cat grabs the victim by the neck, shaking it violently at the same time. Then, tearing the victim with its teeth and claws, it consumes its pieces of food. Interestingly enough, a sand cat can go without water for several weeks, quenching thirst solely through food. An extremely efficient urinary system provides them with the ability to concentrate liquid secretions, eliminating water loss from frequent urination, allowing them to apparently survive for long periods without drinking. And in the places where there are water sources, the cat regularly goes to drink, sometimes even going up to 10 kilometers away. Sometimes the predator caches its prey far from the burrow, but unlike other cats, it will not drag its victim into the hole. If you drag it along the sand, then traces will remain. When the cat manages to catch more than it can eat, it buries its prey in the sand in order to return to it later and finish it off. The ability to hunt snakes refers to the special talents of these animals. Predators attack horned sand vipers, which are highly poisonous representatives of the local fauna. Dune cats easily stun a snake with precise and quick blows to the head, and then kill it with a bite in the neck. The beast returns to its lair only in the morning and performs exactly the same ritual at the entrance to the burrow as at the exit in order to avoid encounters with predators. Disguise is a necessity, without which this beast cannot survive in the desert, in the vastness of which it is hardly possible to hide. Natural camouflage allows our sand cat to hide even from the keen eye of a bird of prey. The ability of the sand cat to move quickly and almost silently, without leaving any traces on the sand, makes hunting him extremely difficult. That's why this beast remains largely inaccessible to researchers. To follow the trail of the sand cat is an almost impossible task. The most interesting thing is that dune cats, even as adults, always remain similar to kittens, while big-eared little kittens are just the height of charm. Males and females of this species live separately, but their home territories overlap. During the mating season, dune cats search for a mate in the desert with the help of loud cries that resemble a dog barking rather than a cat meowing. These sounds should alert and attract a partner.
Sensitive hearing helps the female to hear this call even at great distances. Usually, there can be kilometers of unoccupied desert between the habitats of cats. But if they're lucky, the couple will meet and be able to start a family. These days-long concerts take place from February to mid-May, and the pregnancy lasts from 60 to 65 days. There are usually 3 to 5 kittens per litter, which the female gives birth to in a spacious burrow. Newborns weigh about 40 to 55 grams and gain about 12 grams of weight every day. At the age of 2 weeks, babies open up their eyes, and after another week, they're already starting to run. At 5 weeks, they switch to solid food. In the 3rd month of their life, kittens go hunting with their mother. The female lives with her offspring for up to 6 to 8 months, teaching them all just how to hunt like her. After having mastered the necessary hunting skills, the young cats go in search of their own lands and begin an independent life. At the age of 9 to 13 months, they reach puberty. Since they know how to hide from enemies and always find food, these kings of the desert, as nomads call them, are quite comfortable in some of the most unbearable conditions on the planet. The Dune cat is a unique species of mammals that are not recommended to keep at home. The animal leads a rather secretive lifestyle, and its domestication is unlikely to give the owners the joy of such a pet. Its presence in your life would cause a lot of inconvenience because in captivity such cats are susceptible to viral diseases, and whatever vaccinations could be and should be done to this animal are unknown. Important information: such a cat is impossible to find in a simple kennel. A wild animal like a dune cat rarely breeds in captivity. It must be said that in some countries, this animal is almost on the verge of complete extinction. It is truly a pity that the excessive greed of people leads to such sad consequences.